Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was asked during a visit to Japan Monday whether he was at all concerned by poll numbers that showed him trailing former President Donald Trump by significantly larger margins. "I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes," DeSantis said while bugging out his eyes and bobbing his head from side to side. It was, well, weird. Watch it yourself.
Polls show you falling behind Trump. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
Now, in a vacuum, no big deal. Politicians, especially high-profile ones like DeSantis, get asked all sorts of questions, and every once in a while, their responses are a little bit odd. It's fine. But unfortunately for DeSantis, he's not running for president in a vacuum. And the context in which this latest response from DeSantis lands is one in which there is a growing attempt by Trump to cast the Florida governor as an oddball. Consider the pudding fingers ad.
Ron DeSantis loves sticking his fingers where they don't belong. And we're not just talking about pudding. DeSantis has his dirty fingers all over senior entitlements, like cutting Medicare, slashing Social Security, even raising our retirement age. Tell Ron DeSantis to keep his pudding fingers off our money. Oh, and somebody get this man a spoon.
Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
Ron DeSantis loves sticking his fingers where they don't belong, the ad's narrator says, while a DeSantis lookalike sticks his fingers in a cup of chocolate pudding. And we're not just talking about pudding. Now, the video is in reference to a Daily Beast story from March that includes these lines that I will now quote you. The chatter over DeSantis' public engagement has also surfaced past unflattering stories about his social skills, particularly his propensity to devour food during meetings. Enshrined in DeSantis lore is an episode from 4 years ago. During a private plane trip from Tallahassee to Washington, D.C. in March of 2019, DeSantis enjoyed a chocolate pudding dessert by eating it with 3 of his fingers, according to 2 sources familiar with the incident. That's 3 fingers, 2 sources. Now, the whole point of the video, which was produced by a pro-Trump super PAC, is to push the DeSantis is an odd dude notion into the Republican bloodstream. Sure, the ad talks about policy, specifically DeSantis' past support for making cuts to Social Security and Medicare, but the lingering image of those fingers in that pudding cup is what sticks with you. And the message there is simple. DeSantis is gross and weird. The governor isn't helping his cause much either. Aside from the bulging eyes and the bobbing head response to a simple question about his political prospects, another news story broke over the weekend that cast DeSantis in a bad and again odd light. Former Republican Congressman Dave Trott emailed Politico to note that DeSantis had never spoken to him, despite sitting next to him on the House Foreign Affairs Committee for 2 full years. I go to my first House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing early, and DeSantis showed up right at the gavel time and didn't say hello or introduce himself, Trott told Politico, adding this. And then the next hearing, the same thing happened. I think the 3rd time it happened, I thought, oh, this guy's not ever going to say hello to me. Added Trott about DeSantis's interpersonal skills or lack thereof. If you're going to go into politics, kind of a fundamental skill that you should have is likability. I don't think he has that. He never developed any relationships with other members that I know of. You'd never see him talking on the floor with other people or palling around. He's just a very arrogant guy, very focused on Ron DeSantis. Ouch. Now, let's remember 2 things about a presidential nomination fight. These are both critical. Thing 1, it's usually won and lost in small states like Iowa and New Hampshire where retail politics are a must. And 2, it is at root personality contest. Let's start with the dependence of the nomination on small states. So running for the governor of Florida goes something a little like this. Step 1, raise massive amounts of money. Step 2, spend those massive amounts of money on TV ads that blanket the state. Now sure, you do events with voters along the way, of course, but the state is simply too big to meet everyone, or even close to everyone, who you need to vote for you. The presidential primary process, though, is a totally different thing. In places like Iowa and New Hampshire, the expectation among voters is that they will have a chance to meet you in person, at least once, sometimes multiple times. These are states where glad handing and baby kissing matters a lot. And if you're either bad at that or uncomfortable with it, things don't usually go well. Yeah. Which leads to the second point, that running for president is fundamentally a personality contest. Now, people may not like to hear that, but the reality is that the people who win these nomination fights usually do so by the force of their personality, not with any specific policy proposals. The vote for president is a uniquely personal one. A president is someone who you're going to see on your TV set for 4 whole years, and that puts a premium on voters' comfort level with that politician. The list of recent winners, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, reveals, yes, different personalities, but forceful personalities to a man. All 3 were able, by dint of their interpersonal skills, to convince the public that they got it, that they understood the hopes and dreams of the average Joe. So what? Being odd, or at least being perceived as odd, is a problem politically. Now, it's not unfixable. Candidates can get better on the campaign trail simply by doing the basics of retail politics again and again and again. But perception matters too. And the perception lingering around DeSantis is that he is a little off. Weird. Different. Overcoming that impression will be among DeSantis' first tasks once he becomes an official candidate. And whether he succeeds at it will tell you a lot about whether he's a viable challenger to Donald Trump or not.